through grace you will ever get the understanding of such a difficult topic. And I would like to also request you that when we have this Guru Purnima, which will be coming in July, mid of July generally, take a topic. If you have a guru, please start preparing. I am telling you in so advance because sometimes we are so busy. Take a topic, simple topic. You can be talking on Guru Vandana, Guru Mahima, Guru Kripa, anything which you like for 5 minutes. So it's only May, June, July, 2 months. I would like to have that class as only Guru Purnima class. So the more we have grace from Guru, the better we become in understanding. We understand this topic so easily. Today I have Vishwanath, Dr. Vishwanath. He's here to tell us about Atma Anatma Viveka in a different way. What I explained last time. Can anyone just say, you have all got one verses on Atma? I should ask someone like Natarajan, what you felt like, Nagaraj, what you felt about Anatma? What is one thing about Atma you had said last?
Atma is space.
Okay, Atma is space, means it is
Everywhere.
Sarvagata.
Yeah.
Okay. You have not done your verse still. You have to, your verse today, right? What that one thing is about Atma in that?
Nothing is belongs to the Atma.
Okay. It is, nothing belongs to Atma. So it is Nirvikara or
Nirvikara.
Abhokta.
Nirvikara.
Savikara, Nirvikara. Vishwanath ji, you correct me, please.
Yeah.
Because suddenly I will not remember which is exact word. Madam, your verse, what will it say? It is about Atma or Anatma?
Atma.
Atma. What does it specify?
As existing same.
As never changes. Okay. Changeless Atma. It is same. Okay. Satya. It is the only truth. Otherwise, other things are changing and modifying. You had a verse, right? Divya. Yeah. Your verse, what does it say?
It's always
Unchanging. Okay. Again, unchanging. Imperishable. Shubha's verse, what does it say?
Probably can change, like how it has come, where its origin doesn't have that kind of a character.
Okay. Madam, you had a verse? Existence. It is independent. It doesn't depend on anything. Existing. But it doesn't.
This doesn't happen. Other things doesn't happen.
So why I'm asking? Sonali, you would like to say your verse?
Nityaha, Atma Nityaha, never fading, eternal.
Okay. Well, how difficult if I suggest you that, we are all so tuned with ourselves, the lower self. That is my name, my form, my status. Okay. And when you suddenly shift from this, the whole idea of learning Bhagavad Gita or any Upanishad, shifting yourself. Your nature actually is immortal. But we are so tuned to the body mind and we become mortal. But if you see all the Puranas, everyone wants to have immortality. Right? For that, the prayatna is going on. So much of tapas will be done. But actually, our real nature, which is Atma, is immortal. It is Nitya Shuddha, it's Sarvagata. So the shift is what this all is telling us about. We are that, but because we are so much into the body, mind, and the interaction with the world, when we try to tell, oh, I am Atma, then how would I suggest I am Atma? And that's why there's so many verses about, is it eternal? Is it always there? Does it depend on body, mind to exist?
It doesn't, the Atma doesn't have punya or pava.
Exactly.
Then how does the Atma get the karma? I mean, it's karma is being taken to the next birth. We call it as this thing. I mean, just for my understanding, I'm asking. how does it not have punya or pava? The actions doesn't have punya or pava.
Dr. Sachin, I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything.
Yeah, I can't hear that madam who is.
Okay, madam's voice, what she's saying is, Atma, how does that karma belong to Atma also or not? Means she's asking whether Punya Papa Atma doesn't have, right?
Yes. Then, I mean, it's explained by Guru that Atma doesn't have punya or pava. So then how do we carry over our karma to the next birth? Because that's the Atma that is carrying.
The today's madam's verse is there. We will answer this, sir, but because this is a very good question and this is a very valid question. And that's last time madam also asked. But that's how we want to come again and again, because this till 25th verse, we can take 3 months, no problem. Swamiji takes one verse for 3 days. 6.5 verse, I've attended 2.5 days in Kannada. So in one place in Mysore, 2.5 days on 6.5 verse. So we will go slow. Only 2 verses we did last time. Today that verse will come. Why does Atma don't have, how then he carries next body, right?
But Sachin, you need to plug in your laptop to the power.
Plug in my laptop to the power. Yeah. It's plugged in. Wait. Just I have to plug in this. Good. It's already plugged in, correct? Okay. Let us start with Bhaja Govindam, 2 verses. Okay. Rama madam, you are there, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, would you just chanting? Otherwise, I will do it. But if you want
Yes, sir. Sure. Only chanting?
chanting, only chanting.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you. Rama madam, since last 35 years, she's teaching chanting. Not only children, many people, and now she started for our kids. Saundarya Lahari she started. So anyone interested, on Friday evening we have Saundarya Lahari, but we are having groups. So she is teaching from the basics of how to chant, and she will complete all the 100 verses. So she is teaching from many years, and we are lucky she's coming to the class. Sometimes she is in America, sometimes she is in Singapore, sometimes she will be there.
Nothing like that. Just it is my pleasure, sir, to be with the Bhagavad Gita group. Yeah.
Madam, if you can come once to the video, people want to see you.
Okay, sir. 1 minute.
Or I have her photos.
No, there's nothing. Just.
Madam is there.
Hari Om, Pyo Namaha.
Hari Om. I'll just. Yeah. Yes, madam. You can chant and we will listen to you.
द्वादश मञ्जरिकाभिरशेषः कथितो वैयाकरणस्यैषः उपदेशो भूद्विद्या निपुणैः श्रीमच्छङ्कर भगवच्चरणैः भज गोविन्द.
Sorry. Continue.
Yes, sir.
Continue, madam.
भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते. Okay, sir.
So this verse now, till the 12th verse, Adi Shankaracharya has written. So this is what he's saying. It is like a bouquet of 12 verse, which was imparted to the grammarian, the old man who was trying to read Panani grammar, the difficult grammar, at 80 years of age, by the all-knowing Shankara. All-knowing means who knows that Jagat is Mithya and only truth is Brahman. That all-knowing Shankara adored as Bhagavad Pada. Now, after this, the verses which are written, maybe I think 16 more or 17, are all by his disciple. There are 4 disciples. So the next verse is by Padmapada, I think. Ma'am, can you also recite this?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Kate kanta dhanagata chinta vatula kim tavanasti niyanta त्रिजगति सज्जन संगतिरेका भवति भवार्णवतरणे नौका भज गो. You want me to repeat that also?
Yes, madam.
Is it
Yes.
okay?
Yes, okay.
भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते.
Thank you. And when we do the chanting, madam, you can
Yes.
chant like for the kids, and then we will chant after you, or directly we
Yeah.
can chant after you.
Yeah, even this shloka I want like that.
Next time we will do that.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
This now Bhagavad Gita chanting we will do accordingly. After you, we will chant again. We all want to
Okay.
chant.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Hemalata madam, you can read. For the people who are online, he is telling, "Oh madman, why this engrossment in thoughts of wealth and beloved? Is there no one to guide you?" In these three worlds we all know. What are the three worlds? There are many three worlds, but awake, dream, and deep sleep. Okay. In these three worlds, only the association with saintly people, that is satsanga, what we are doing, can serve as the boat that can steer across the ocean of repeated birth and death. Because satsanga only will give you nitsangatvam. And nisangatvam is only going to lead you to nirmohatvam. Because everything starts with a small desire. And then the desire multiplies. For a small desire, we want to do action. And more, one desire is over, second desire will come. So with satsanga, nisangatva, nirmohatvam. Once nirmohatva, you are having chanchala chitvam. Your inner consciousness will go more and more near to it. Once that, then definitely what will happen is jivan mukti. You don't have to die to get moksha. While you're alive, you will be having a understanding that is called jivan mukta. So these two just words you understand. Satsang, what we are doing, whenever 2 or 3 people meet, generally they talk about the worldly affairs, politics, cricket, or whatever. But here, this is a unique crowd. We are all lucky that we meet at least once in a week, 1 hour, and we talk only about Bhagavan. So if this continues, you will definitely lead to Jivan Mukti. Today, I will like a different angle by...
Wait for it.
Jayantini madam. Yeah. I will mute. It's muted. So I will just explain this. What was consciousness? It was original by God. What is Brahman? Who has made the entire universe through Brahma. And we are all borrowed. Everything which is existing other than Brahman is borrowed. Or Jivatma and Paramatma. We will not see this. We'll directly go to today's... Sir, over to you, sir. I'll open your new one. Is this the one, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you everyone. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. I can't see everybody in the room, Dr. Sachin. For my benefit, okay, great. Pranams to everybody. Well, I'm very sure all of you are aware of Atma Anatma Viveka. What is Atma? What is Anatma? Am I audible, Dr. Sachin?
Very clear, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
However, no matter how much we try to understand Atma Anatma, and no matter whatever the different examples that we come across, this topic is really difficult. In fact, spiritual students who have spent years still have a question, still go back to the old thinking that we are all Atma, because this is such a difficult to digest actually. It's a big, it's very difficult to digest. So what I have done is try to bring in a simplistic possible example, and with that we thought we'll get into some discussion. That's Sachin. Next slide, please. So these are the 7 questions a spiritual student asks, and these questions are available in Viveka Chudamani by Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Now at some stage probably we will all study Viveka Chudamani. This class also, this forum also will study. What I am going to do is I will not touch upon the first 4 questions, but in this session, in the next couple of minutes, I will touch upon the last 3 questions. What is anatma? What is atma? How do we differentiate between atma and anatma? So those are the 3 questions that I will try and address. Next slide, please. Now, this is a very, very strong statement that we all must read and digest here. Why do we need to understand atma and anatma? The fundamental question. Why is it required at the first place to understand atma and anatma? Now, if you look at these 2 terms, we have 2 choices. And the choice is very, very obvious here. Atma ajnanam samsara karanam, meaning if we are ignorant, we continue to spiral around the samsara. Even after this birth, again we will get into another jiva, and again we will go to the punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, and we will enjoy the life as well as absorb the sorrows that life gives us, right? That is the first statement. Second, atma jnana moksha karana. Now, among the 8 lakh plus species, living species on the planet that we have, human birth is probably the only birth that helps us to attain our true purpose, which is liberation. And the reason why we all come together is to figure out a way where we achieve the purpose, which is the moksha. Atma jnanam is what we all have come together to understand. Right? Sachin, next slide, please. Now, I want all of us to look at these 2 examples, which is picked up from Viveka Chudamani. Now, what you see in the upper portion of the slide, right hand upper portion, is a desert with an oasis, and this is called anatma prapancha. The desert, oasis, everything what you see is termed as anatma prapancha. And all the jivatmas, the human beings, the camels, everything in the desert are compared to jivatma. They are all the travelers in this anatma prapancha. Now, let us look at an example which probably is pretty closer to your heart. Sachin, next slide, please. So I have taken the example of Tangam Hospital itself, where you all work, and relating to the earlier example, right, where we said desert is compared to the anatma prapancha. Now, in the same analogy, Tangam Hospital with all the hospital infrastructure is nothing but anatma prapancha. Now, all the doctors, surgeons, medical staff, everybody, including the patient in there, they are all jivatma. So I hope the clarity or the understanding of anatma prapancha and jivatma is very, very clear by this particular, depiction or the example. Now, let's go for further explanation, where most of you are doctors in the room. What do? You have a patient that comes to either OPD, or you take up that patient for a surgery. You have a patient. Then you have an instrument that you will use. The instrument could be anything. It could be a microscope or a torch or any kind of knife or any instrument. Then the third thing is you use your instrument itself cannot do any function. You use your sense organs, your hand, and your eyes and everything. You listen to the patient. You use your sense organs to use the instrument and to observe the patient. Now, with the help of instrument and sense organs, will you be able to look at the patient? No. Whatever you see has to make some sense. And that something which makes sense is your brain that analyzes and concludes certain things. What is this patient and how the patient has to be treated, etc., etc. Now, the question is, who is behind this brain? Who is making sense to the brain? That is where your Jivatma comes into picture. Now, in this picture, there are two parts essentially. I have put a small dotted circle where patient, instrument, sense organs, including the brain, is all about anatma, and the atma part is your Jivatma, which is what gives sentiency to the brain, or what makes sense in whatever you are observing is what is Jivatma. Next slide, please. Now, in the past, we have seen the pot and the clay example and the gold and the bangle example, where one refers to equivalent to Atma or Satya, and the pot that comes out of the clay is Anatma or Mithya. Same thing with the bangle example. Now, if you go back to the earlier slide, now the same relativity you can see here between that Atma and Anatma, where when you break the pot, it completely dilutes and becomes the clay, which means to say it merges into the clay. Now, what is our endeavor in life? Our endeavor is, again, the Jivatma should submerge in all-pervading Atma, whether you call that all-pervading Atma as Brahman, and it calls in various terms, which I'm going to talk in a little while from now. Next slide, please, Sachin. Next slide. Now, so if you look at in summary, Atma Anatma Viveka, on the left-hand side, it's all the description of Atma that I was just talking about. And on the right-hand side is Anatma. Let's go one by one. The first one is Drik, the seer or the experiencer. And I don't think you need to worry at this stage. Drik Drishya Viveka is another text which we'll probably study at some point in time. And Drishyam, the objects include gross, subtle, and causal bodies. The Sarira Trayam. Okay. Now, just to explain this Drik Drishya Viveka in a little detail, that Sachin, can you go back to that patient and this slide? This slide. If you look at the patient, that is Drishya, where the instrument becomes the Drik. Right? Whereas with respect to the instrument, the torch here, your sense organs becomes the Drik, the instrument becomes the Drishya. Meaning one becomes a seer and the other becomes the seen. That's the whole idea here. Right? Now, for the sense organ, your brain becomes the Drik, whereas the sense organs becomes the Drishya. But for the brain, who is the seer? That is where the main understanding comes. Now, brain also is Anatma, which becomes the Drishya, whereas the Drik is your Jivatma, which is part of all-pervading Atma, and which gives the sentiency to all your brain and sense organ, including when you lift the torch and use the torch to see the patient. So this whole understanding is called Drik Drishya Viveka, the seer and the seen Viveka, right? But Sachin, you can go back to that slide. Yeah, this is the first one. The second one is Nirvikara, free from any modifications. You know, Atma cannot be modified, it cannot be cut, it cannot be made dirty. So a lot of attributes are there which we will separately study, or some of the attributes you may be even aware of it. Then anatma is savikara, subject to modifications, including, we were toddlers at some point in time, we became children, then we became grown into adults, we got educated. Every time our body underwent some sort of change, that is savikara. Third is nirguna, free from all the attributes. The atma or the all-pervading Brahman does not have any attributes, whereas anatma is saguna, which has height, weight, length, breadth, all kind of attributes, color, everything, right? Fourth is chetana. It is sentient, it is conscious. That is why all of us are able to talk, because we have the sentiency. And anatma is jada, insentiency. It is alert. For example, we all become old one day, and when we die, our brain has no job to do, right? Our sense organs are useless. So, because the jivatma is moved away from the body. And finally, it is satyam, absolute reality or intrinsic existence, whereas anatma is mithya, conditioned, subject to changes, and it has borrowed existence. It is like the sun and the moon. We say moonlight, but there isn't anything called the moonlight, because moon has a borrowed existence from the sun, whereas sun has the intrinsic nature, whereas moon has a borrowed existence. Yeah, next slide, please, Dr. Sachin. Yeah, now this is a profound question, and this is my last slide, and I will stop. This is a very profound question. What happens to us after death without attaining moksha, right? When a person dies without attaining liberation or moksha, the jivatma finds another body, continues to be bound by the cycle of death and birth, and we all call that as samsara. Our jivatma carries with it the impressions or the karmic tendencies from the past actions of papa and punya, which determines its subsequent rebirth. So that's what happens. Now, definitely, this is not a pleasant thing for us. That is the reason we all go after attaining liberation or moksha. Hari Om. So that is all I had. If there are any questions, I will take up those questions, or I will request Dr. Sachin or Rama Madam to answer. Rama Madam, please help if there are any questions that I am not able to answer.
Sir,
Yeah, this is just an example. You want to, yeah. So Dr. Sachin, I'll go through this example very quickly. Yeah, next slide. So find X, right? In this puzzle for all of you, find X. It is not a vegetable or a fruit. It does not grow in tree or plants. It does not perish easily. Essential component of most of our food. It pervades most of our food items. Now this finding X is salt. Basically, it's a metaphor that is being used that Atma is equivalent to the salt, which is all pervading. So that's about it from me. Any questions? We will take any other questions. Yeah.
So this also you can read, sir. What is?
Yeah. So essentially, X is Atma, all pervading, which is eternal. It's a only reality. It is all pervading. It cannot be. It is never an object, and it is ever the subject. It is not the doer. It is not the enjoyer. It doesn't enjoy. Atma doesn't enjoy. It is just a witness. It is just a witness, and it does not go through any sort of changes. It cannot be perished, etc.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Sir, be there. So in the end, we will ask the questions. So difficult, na? Very difficult, right? But I'll try to.
But I just want to understand the immediate reactions. I mean, did it go above the head of everybody?
No, sir. It was good. It will take time. But see, for example, a garland. All the flowers are like anatma. The thread is atma, which is not seen. But without that, can the garland be formed? Can it be woven? So only when this flowers or all the shrinks and goes off, then the atma is seen. But still, this is limited example. Because if I am saying thread. That means again, Atma doesn't have any attribute. See, we have to go slow. Whenever, for example, a news is started, they give a small introduction. Then they elaborate, right? This chapter is like an introduction. And then there is a lot of elaboration in verses in 15th chapter. Attributeless anatma. There are 17, 18 verses. Then again, it will be repeated. So we'll just take it as we understood what is atma, anatma. At least this word atma, anatma, we are now educated with. Before that, we did not know what is atma, anatma. So any example which is given will be limited. Like salt example also is limited. Because salt we can see now. How can we say it is an atma? Any example you take, it will be limited. The examples are only to make us understand. Okay, sir, we will go ahead. So finally, what is atma? Atma, it's not the part, product or property of the body. I'm talking body here because it is related to us, but you can take anything, even the book or in the space, anything you take. It enlivens the body and makes it sentient. It's independent and doesn't get affected due to the experiences of the body. And it continues to exist even after the body goes to rest. Like, the space which is there, which will be always there, the pot existed or not existed, the space will be there. Whatever the pot content had, it will not sully the space. So it pervades through the pot and goes beyond it. So this is what is Atma. We are in second chapter. It's called as Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is actually the answers for whatever Arjuna's questions or Arjuna's problem, which was what? Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Samsara. Samsara means Raga, Shoka and Moha. That was his problem, which caused confusion. And when we saw 2.10 verse, where he completely surrendered and asked to Krishna, "Oh Krishna, please, I am given up, I am confused, I surrender totally to you." Then Krishna starts this the teaching, which is divided into three. And we are in the first one, philosophical angle. It's the adhyatmic way of teaching Arjuna. Second would be ethical, dharmic way, and finally worldly way, or laukika angle. We have seen 16, 17 verse, where you saw the warriors are like the waves, and finally basically the Atma is the water principle. Waves and ocean can be there, but water principle, if you see, nothing is existing. So if you kill he's telling, if you kill even Drona Bhishma, you're not killing anyone, you're killing the body. And yena sarvam idam tatam. So it is eternal, it is there everywhere. So you don't have to worry. The pot may be there or not be there, the space was always there. Sonali also explained these verses where we see that seer and the seen. When you see a photograph, you know there was a camera and there was a person behind it. So when you see a body from now on, or you see a very beautiful thing, and you will see that even the bad thing also, you should be understanding there is Atma in that. Correct? So because you are seeing God's creation, so every creation, God is there. Just like every ornament, gold is there. So the same way, whenever you see something, you remember the way you are seeing also is because of God, and the seen also is because of God. Today's verse will start with Selva Kumari. We will ask, ma'am, request you to chant it, and then we'll chant after you.
Okay, sir. Yeah, should I break the word, something like that?
No, madam, you will chant the same way for the children, no?
Yayenam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Yayenam veti hantaram
Yayenam veti hantaram.
veti Yayenam veti hantaram
Yayenam veti hantaram.
yaschainam manyate hatam.
Yaschainam manyate hatam.
Ubhau tau na vijanito.
Ubhau to now vijanito.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
It's not hanti, it is hanti. Nayam hanti na hanyate. Short vowel ending, hanti.
Nayam hanti na hanyate.
Yeah, correct.
Hari Om. Over to you, Harsh. Yeah, you can just meaning
The one who considers this self to
loudly.
be a killer and the one who considers this self to be killed. Both of them do not know this self does not kill nor is it killed. Atma karta and abhokta. Atma is no action and Atma is no object. Atma like space, akshavat. The space is not involving our action, but without space, no action is possible. Another example, prakash with like light or sunlight, all transactions. It takes space in the light, but light itself is not a participant. So therefore, light, space, light, Atma, presence is required for all the transaction, but Atma itself is not involved in any action.
So, Atma here now again he's bringing Arjuna to the war field. That's why he's again giving the kill, the one who can kill and the one who is killed. So, Atma, which is like space, the pot is broken or pot is there. It doesn't affect the space within or outside the pot. So, he's just trying to bring na hanyate hanyama. It will come, one more verse will be there. Here na hanti. So it's not possible. So those who understand that Atma can be killed, Atma can have action, it is wrong. That's what he's saying. You are given this, right? So again, with Swamiji's example, when you see a projector and a movie on the projector, whatever is happening over the projector, like a scene, there will be bloodshed. There may be a beautiful flower bouquet. Everything will be there. But when the movie is over, the screen is white only. So same way, the Atma is like the screen. Whatever is projected over it is Maya. So whatever is happening through our body, mind, in the world is like the movie, which will have a beginning and the end. When this is over, it is dissolved. Projector is shut down. What remains is Atma, pure Paramatma. So we have to always think whenever we are having a situation where it is very good or very bad, you have to think it is a movie going on and just be silent. If it is uncontrollable, we can try and go towards our Atma and say, okay, this is movie, it is going to end. And then we might be a bit less angry, we might be less jealous, we might be not having any hate to anyone. So think as a movie going on in any situation given, because Atma is neither going to be killed, neither going to be changed. It is permanent. It is everywhere. It was there before us. The movie began and it will be there after it also. Okay. Arundhati is not there. Ma'am, you can chant and we will chant after you.
Okay. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah ajo nitya shashvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire na jayate full the full
Yes, madam. Yes, full.
Okay. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit
Na jayate mriyate va kadachit
nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah
nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyah
ajo nitya shashvato yam purano
ajo nitya shashvato yam purano
Nityash Shashvato. Nityash. Ajo Nityash Shashvato Yam Purano.
Nityashashvatoyam Purano.
Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire.
Anyate hanyamane sharire. Thank you, madam. So again, about Atma, this Atma or self is neither born at any time, nor does it die at any time. It will neither come to existence at one given time, nor will it disappear again at another time. This is unborn, eternal, free from decay as well as growth. It is not affected when the body is affected. So again, it is the same, but what is trying to tell is Atma, Anatma, both is given in this verse. Here, Anatma has birth, death, it will change, it will decay, it will die. But he's saying that this is not affected, Atma doesn't get affected by these changes. And it was nor there to be die, nor it was born, because it was eternal. It was there, like the movie screen is there before the movie. And whatever the scene happens, it is not going to be affected by it. So this is what is told. Atma, Anatma, both are mixed in this verse. Divya. Madam, we can chant and...
Yes, sir. Veda Vinashinam Nityam Yayena Majamauvyayam Katham Sapurushah Partha Kam Ghatayati Hantikam. Veda Vinashinam Nityam
Veda Vinashinam Nityam
Yayena Majamauvyayam
Yena Majamavyayam
Katham Sapurushah Partha
Katham Sapurushah Partha
Kam Ghatayati Hantikam.
Kam Ghatayati Hantikam. Yes, Divya. Shall I show from here? Go ahead.
O Arjuna, who can that person who knows this Atma to be imperishable, changeless, birthless, and decayless, kill? And whom can he instigate to kill and how? Partha is, O Arjuna, Kamsa Purusha. Whom can that person, Yaveda, one who knows? So, split up of the word, O Arjuna, whom can that person who knows this Atma, Enam, this to be Avinasinam, imperishable, Nityam, changeless, Ajam Avyayam, birthless, Ajam, and Avyayam means decayless, Anti, kill, and whom can he instigate to kill and how?
Correct. So next one.
What I understood from the verse was we should try and separate the Atma and Anatma, Atma and the body. Even though they are one as we see it now, we should understand that Atma is one entity and Anatma is one entity which are existing together. And once we try to identify ourselves with the Atma and not just our body, we will understand and attain moksha.
Correct. So very nice. You tried to explain in your own words. And I think this is helping us that sending the PPT, you at least prepare a little bit more than before. So it's like the two sides of one coin. You can't separate it actually. Physically, you can't separate, but you know there is Atma as well as Anatma within me only. Separation is only mental separation. You know, it's like even getting moksha is experience is your own experience of getting moksha. It's not that after getting liberation, I'm going to walk 5 feet above the ground, or I'm going to have some kind of experiences which I can make siddhis. So understanding this is just your experience, and that's why it's so difficult to if someone knows what is Atma, he will not able to tell you. Like I give the example of Rasagulla. So Amish also gives, if the North Indian says you have never eaten Rasagulla, and he says, have you tasted Rasagulla? It tastes like this. It's very sweet. But if you have never tasted Rasagulla, then it's very difficult to give you the experience of the North Indian to a South Indian. Maybe same way, the other way also. Rasam maybe. We have never tasted paper rasam there. So you can tell whatever you have experienced. But to get that experience, he has to have that. So same way, Atma, Anatma, Viveka, only when your experiences, like she said, you have to start thinking that whatever is happening around me is Anatma, which is not affecting the Atma within me. I think with that and I just finished this. Vedaha, one who knows. This word is important. The one who knows. Now here he's pointing out to Arjuna. If you know this, then Atma cannot kill or Atma cannot instigate someone to kill. It's all again, he's bringing him back to the war. We have forgotten that it was war. And here he's giving the examples of this. So knows that I am not the matter principle. I am not the constant changing one. I am the all pervading Atma, and I am the eternal, and anything other than this is Anatma. Just like Swamiji gave example here about how the iceberg gets separated, and he thinks he is a separate like ice. Similarly, we are all separated from the Paramatma. We are Jivatmas. Once this so-called form of iceberg, slowly what will happen to it? It slowly melts. It can travel to some extent. After some time, it melts and it becomes what? So same way, we are all having a body-mind complex, like an iceberg, even bigger than iceberg. So after some time, it should melt into the Paramatma. So Jivatma, Paramatma Aikyam is the key of understanding of Bhagavad Gita. So we will stop here because exactly 8 o'clock, and we will take the question answers after sirs. Yours. And I would request, Madam, this was fantastic. You came today and it was a really good chanting. If any time we can do this more and more. Vishwanath ji,
Yes.
thank you so much. Our class is officially over, but we have some discussion on the Professor Arasu here is going to tell us some stories. Sir will be telling us about the Tirukural. So, but you are free to log out if you are busy.
I have another session at 8:15. So
Yes,
I would
madam.
like to-
Yes. Vishwanath
Thank you
sir,
for
if you can be here, we will have question answers. Okay, Arasu sir. No, but they will. I'll just end the class by Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna.